There is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. Hello friends, I'm Burak and I'm searching for developer stories all over the world. Today's guest is Jagoda. After discovering her passion, she did a big change in her career. Besides working in the IT field, she also took part of a lot of events, including organizing conferences, doing side projects and more. Let's listen to her story together.
Well, there is a longer version of the story and there's a shorter one. So the longer version is, I think at some point in the past, I went to a web design course and I thought it was really, really fun. And that's where I learned HTML and CSS and stuff like that. But I never really used it in the job I did back then. So 2016, I moved to Sweden. And then I realized that the IT community is really strong here. And got my hands on some websites to edit by accident, and I was like, okay, I could do this. This is really fun. And then I realized there is a lot of meetups and events where people could actually teach you how to code for free. So one of those is Ping programming. This one that says here. I went there a couple of times for the workshops, and then I said, well, I could this looks fun. I could be actually doing this and getting paid. And people there point me to the boot camps. Then I realized that it was quite easy to get in back then. Maybe it's not so easy right now because they're really popular. And I got into boot camp and for Java. And after that, I got a full-time job really, really fast. Never did anything in Java, but it was quite. I can say it was. I jumped. It wasn't like a gradual curve. So.
Actually, in your story, that's interesting that you work in other jobs for a long time.
Yes.
And how did you feel while you were doing other jobs? Like, were you happy, or were you have something that, oh, I should change something else? Like, how was your inner situation?
Oh, okay. So most of the jobs I worked were in marketing and sales. So I always, I guess I never stopped learning. I always look for the way to improve. But there was something that was saying like, okay, maybe something else would be fun as well. It doesn't have to be always the same thing, maybe. And I really liked fiddling around websites. So I think when I moved to Sweden, then it was the eye opener that this is actually a really, really good country to be at if you want to do IT.
You know, it's very difficult to make the changes in the life. Like, how you got that power? Okay, I cutting what I'm doing and moving to another field. Like, how you get encouragement?
Okay, so yeah, that was like I did do like clean slate, like you say. It was not a gradual one. There was another cut that I needed to do. That was to learn spoken language, Swedish. So that one was maybe even a bigger obstacle. But I think at some point I decided that this is a good opportunity. That if I don't take it now, then another one might not come along so fast. And the only way to take such a change in your life is just go full forward. No reserves, no backup plan, no nothing. So I guess I decided it's okay if I fail, just to know that I took a proper shot.
That's a very cool plan. And how did you define your career path? You have lots of certificates and participated courses. What do you like in web development, and what do you think about it?
Okay, why did I choose web development? That's a good question. I think I guess I like the interaction with the user, with maybe the sales person in me wants to know what people think, wants the quick feedback. So that might be. And at the end of the day, whatever you produce for people. So with the front end, the feedback loop is much quicker. So I guess I decided on basis of that, I think. And it's also a very, very visual type. So I like to see what I'm doing. So in the front end, that is much easier. You can literal change. So it's,
I agree.
you understand.
Yeah, I had the same experience. And what obstacles did you face while improving yourself in the tech field?
As one of them, as I mentioned, was spoken language. That was Swedish. That one I needed kind of to learn when I moved to Sweden. I mean, there is no way around it. You just got to learn it. And another one was even obstacles to get the job or obstacles in while working. Which one did?
Actually, I meant while learning it, because when you're new in the field, there are lots of things to learn. Some imposter syndrome.
Oh yeah.
Able to do it. How do you come over those problems?
I think I'm still like fighting it out with the imposter syndrome, but I think I'm winning sort of sometimes. Sometimes. So yeah, it's a good question. You kind of need to realize that even though you have a lot of senior colleagues, they don't know everything. And just because somebody has a bit of seniority over you, it does not make them a better developer. They might be missing a lot of things that happening around. So that one is a bit harder to ignore, but it's possible. So at the end, there is a limit to the how many information per day you can absorb, and you just got to like make peace with it. Okay, I don't know how to do that today, but I'm just gonna learn it. And you can't learn everything. It's not possible. You cannot keep up with everything. It's not possible either. So you kind of need to just choose which are the most important things that you need to learn. That's if you have good colleagues, then they can like point you in the right direction. This is really, really important. Or a mentor or whatever works for you. But the biggest obstacle is you want to learn everything at once and make up for 20 years of experience gap that you have between you and your colleagues, and plus they have diploma in computer science and maybe like masters or PhD, I don't know what, and then it's like you cannot make up that in 3 months. Of course you can't, but you don't need to. The stuff that's been done 20 years ago are not used today in most cases. So you don't need to. You need to learn stuff that is used today, and it's going to be important tomorrow. So it's okay. Like you just can't make up the difference in 1 week, even though it would be nice. It's okay. And there is a certain, like you can say, niche. Not everybody wants to do everything. So as a front-end developer, I'm sure that you have seen that people just like, CSS thing that like, could you take a look? Like, I don't want. So there are things that your colleagues just not like. They are more than happy to give them to you. So yeah.
What is the most effective way to learn something new? How do you learn effectively?
Okay, so this is a thing, depends how you learn. It's not the same for everybody. I think for me, it's like I said, I'm the visual type, so I like to see things move on the screen and do something. But I have learned the different things in different ways. So I guess sometimes you can take something simple like a calculator and try to build it, and then just fill in the blanks as you go along. Sometimes you can take a course like on a free code camp or somewhere, and then try to build something simple. There is a bit of like a bit of an issue with learning with courses and boot camps and schools. They kind of teach you how to write before they teach you how to read. That can be later a bit of an obstacle, but yeah, you just kind of need to try to create something that it's not going to go without that. So you can go to some workshops. That's also good. There are a lot of meetups. you can choose some project on GitHub that you want to contribute to. That is a very good way to learn, not just to learn how to read code, but to learn how to collaborate with people, which is a skill that is very, very appreciated. And even though it doesn't say so in the job ads, the first interview, they're going to ask you if you are able to work with people in some way. So, and then you can, I guess, I had the same experience. I also used, I also have a project of my own spare time. It's called GitHub, where I work with my friends. So it's a good way to learn, I think. You need to learn how to collaborate with other people. It's not just like putting code and seeing it work. It kind of, somebody else needs to take a look at that code and say like, okay, this is good.
Yeah, you already mentioned that how did you increase your technical experience, but what was the first your client project? How did you receive it?
I think my first project was when I was in bootcamp that I did with my friends. So that was our finishing project. That's where I saw it's like that I could actually work in this field. And after that, I got hired for a like full-time job. So in Scania, the company that builds trucks. So it was quite straightforward since then.
What motivates and inspires you while working?
That's a good question. I guess depends what I'm working with at the moment. But it's always nice to see when stuff works. It's always nice to see when your code works. I guess if I would find an inspiration, it would be in some simple solutions that somebody did that are like simple enough so you can implement them a lot of places. That's something inspiring, and like find a simple way to explain things. That is what I found. It's like, oh, this is very nice. Like I could do this.
So, as I understand, you're more focused on solving problems and having some shortcuts. Not the money is the first place, because I talk some people, their preference is sometimes money, sometimes another things. But I think this is the more healthy way to focus on. To enjoy this, what you are doing and making some solutions. I think it's more for long term.
Yes, but just to clarify, of course, we all work to get paid. So it's, of course, you need to pay the bills. But if you take a volunteer project, it will not make you a worse developer. It will make you better. So in time, you can also like negotiate your salary much better because you can use more technologies. So it's not a bad thing in the long run. You will get like more money, bigger salary. So it doesn't need to cancel each other out. So it's just that maybe the payment it will not come in the next month, but it will probably within a year. You will learn new stuff, new technologies, so you can get paid for it as well. So it doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm going to volunteer, I'm going to lose like 5, 6, 7 hours per week. I don't want to do that. But it's not really bad. Think of it as an education. It's not a bad
It's just making investment for the future.
Yeah, exactly. So it's for you, this will be very, very useful. It's I mean, there is no downside to that.
And how do you manage your time effectively while working and learning new stuff?
Okay, so that's a good question. Like I'm still working on that. I guess I kind of try to find the balance. Try to squeeze in some kind of gym training or something in between, so I don't end up sitting too long. I try. I need to have a break in between the job, and then if I'm having a course later or working on something else, then I need to have like a couple of hours in between it just to clear my mind, because if you just continue, then you're already tired and you need to step back a bit. As I said, I'm still working on managing time. It seems like I never have enough.
What do you want to achieve in your career? Do you have any dreams you would like to share?
That's 6 months ago, I had like super clear answer to this question, and naturally by today I changed my mind. So now I think I will explore more on the full stack side. Up to a couple of months ago, I was interested in only the front end. But now I think I need to learn backend more and focus on that, because I think it's good to see that perspective as well. I think it's it will be interesting to see, and that's why I'm not sure. But I think somewhere like full stack developer is a goal for this year, and then maybe for next one, maybe something within architecture or something. So we'll see. But as I said, I tend to change my mind every now and then. So it depends on what I find that would be interesting. So let's say full stack developer for now.
I hope you will succeed in this year.
Thank you. The goal is actually to learn JavaScript more, to learn the language a bit deeper. So I think that could be achieved with knowing the backend and front end. So hopefully.
And what are the differences between being a web developer in Sweden and in Croatia?
Okay, I think I was not a web developer in Croatia. I was sales mostly, but with the exception of salary. It's a really good question. I think a lot of people from Croatia also work for people from Sweden. So I need to talk to some of my friends, so I'll be able to answer that question. But in the terms of development, the language, the tools is probably very similar. It's just the projects are different.
What three pieces of advice about your career would you give to your younger self?
That's a good question. How much younger?
I don't know. When you think about the past, like, okay, I wish I was doing this better, or learning this topic. I don't know.
Okay, so I think it would be some. I always liked computers, so I think I would start looking what's under the hood earlier. I think that might have been like a good advice. And the good thing I think I did a couple of years ago was sit down and write what I want to achieve. And then when I said okay, I want to work in IT industry, this looks really good. And then it was okay, I want a job, full-time, paid. And how do I achieve that? How do I get there? So there was bootcamp was one of the options. So, okay, this is doable. So I think I would sit down earlier. I think I would have that conversation maybe 5 years earlier and say, okay, what do you want? How to achieve that, how to do that, maybe to have some previous knowledge that would actually help. Although I don't know, I might have changed my mind as well. So I think it worked out okay, considering all the big changes that happened.
I think your previous experiences also helped you in
Yes,
in your soft skills and communication and those parts. I'm sure about it.
Yes, of course it helps. It's if you don't know how to talk to people, it doesn't really matter how good of a developer you are, unless you're working alone in some small startup. Then it's okay, you don't need social skills. But if you are working in a company that hires a lot of developers, you kind of need to be able to speak to people and to say what you think, and then you need to take on feedback from them. You kind of need to be able to collaborate. It is actually much more important than I thought. I was surprised actually, much more. So it did help. I think people that change career, so they go into software development, and then you present yourself like you don't have any experience. But this is not really the true, because you have experience from other jobs, for other fields. You have done something in some project, and this is all experience. It's at the end of the day, employer just wants to know what you know how to do. They don't really care how you learned it.
Yeah.
So I think I think any experience will help if you know how to use it later. Probably.
So thank you very much for your answers. I really enjoyed talking to you.
Yeah, me too. It was really nice speaking to you.
Bye bye.
Bye.